Hello everyone. Why you need a got to go now bag, a grab bag, an emergency plan, and a bag full of necessary items. You never know what's going to happen. Earthquakes, I experienced one here in the Philippines about a week ago, 6.6. It was off on another island, but swayed my building pretty good and did some major damage. I think one death over there. You never know what's going to happen on this earth. The reason we haven't had visits from aliens from other galaxies is that they come by the earth, they look down on earth, and they say, man, that is a very uninhabitable place. Look at that. Volcanoes. Back here, air travel disruption 2010. In April 2010, a big volcano went off in Iceland, shut down air traffic across much of Europe all the way to Turkey. I have finally started putting together a bag with some essential items, some survival items. What would you put in your bag? Do you have a bag? Do you have a plan? Water? Water, number one. I take that back. Air is number one. So you probably want some sort of a mask, even if it's some sort of cloth mask, some way to keep the dust, debris out of your lungs. The average person can live about 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, so water would be second. So you should probably have enough water for a day or two at least. Water, maybe a gallon. Water weighs about 8 pounds per gallon, not quite 4 kilos per gallon, so it adds weight. And I have some way to filter water as well. Get a good filter. Food would be pretty important. Obviously, the average person could probably live about 3 weeks without food, is what I've read. You can buy packs like this. This was sold out when I looked at it, but about $170. Comes with lots of stuff: wind-up battery, powered radio, knives, survival gear, freeze-dried food, which is much lighter than canned food, of course. You should have some gear and knowledge about how to catch and cook food. You can download survival apps to your phone. I would suggest that, and learn how to use some of that stuff, lighters or flint, to start your own fire. A reasonably well-stocked first aid kit would be highly recommended. Of course, you don't know what kind of issues you're going to run into. There again, I would probably buy a well-equipped first aid kit rather than trying to put together my own. You definitely want some waterproof, like a jacket and probably pants, and like Gore-Tex waterproof shoes, boots, something like that. Again, depending on the weather that you have in your particular area. I can tell you from experience, even if it's 85 degrees out and you get hot, you get wet in the rain, like here in the Philippines, I've been wet and a little bit of wind comes up, and man, even though it's warm outside, hot outside, it is cold once that wind picks up. You should also pack a change of clothes, including some good dry socks as well. As I was doing research for this video project, come across this for only 1,870 US dollars. Skysaver Family Rescue Backpack with Baby Harness Bundle. 25-story fire escape backpack evacuation kit. Strap that thing on, jump out of your 25-story building, but don't forget to tie one end of that cord to something real solid in that apartment building before you jump out. Throw the baby in there and you're set to go. I always fear, I've thought about buying a rope because I've lived in higher floors in condos and apartment buildings over the course of many years, different cities. And I've thought about getting ropes or cables, something that wouldn't burn on the way down if there was a fire. Because if the firemen arrive on time, will their ladders be high enough to reach me? Will they have time to reach me? My concern was always, when looking at the weight capacity, like this is good for just under 300 pounds, I think. If I'm rappelling down the side of this building with a rope, The people below me out on their balcony or looking out their window, they're going to see that rope and they're going to say, hey, that'll work for me too. And all of a sudden, we've got 1,000 pounds on that rope. That's meant more and more people are grabbing onto that thing and shimmying on down, trying to save themselves. You should have copies of all your important documents. If your documents go up in a fire or some disaster, earthquake, building collapses, you should have copies of all that stuff in your grab bag so that it would be easier for you to replace them. May be good identification in the meantime. I am curious, what are the risks in your area? Tornadoes, hurricanes, typhoons, earthquakes, forest fires, grass fires. I heard sound like a train going over our house when I was in high school, and we headed for the basement. We're about halfway down into the basement when we heard this sound like a freight train coming over the top of our roof. We were lucky we didn't have damage. When I was away at college, one did actually go through the grove back behind our house and took out a lot of the big trees back in that wooded grove area. I have seen two other tornadoes, and one was in, I think, New Mexico, and saw it in the distance and watched it dissipate. The crosswinds broke it up before it got anywhere near us. Fires in the poor subdivisions, poor areas, not subdivisions. Poor areas are very common, and almost every week you read about a fire displacing 200 or 1,000 people in the Philippines, and many times an electrical wire or somebody burning a candle or something. Fires, volcanoes, earthquakes, typhoons are all quite common to Asia, other parts of the world as well. And one of my concerns is volcanic ash from down in Indonesia. Right now there are several volcanoes that are throwing up ash up around Japan, different places with the wind coming in the right direction. We could get a lot of that. When I came here in 2015, there were peat fires in Malaysia and Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and for a couple months it was very hazy here from the smoke that came up from there. So I'm interested to hear your feedback. I know even about a month ago or so, the Midwest USA had a huge storm, a couple miles long, over 100-mile-an-hour winds in many places. There were towns and cities that were out of electricity for, I think, over a week. And imagine that, no refrigeration, no air conditioning, all those kind of issues. So anyway, I'm very interested to hear what you guys are doing, what kind of plan, what kind of a bag you've put together. And anyway, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.